Hello and welcome. I'm Amanda and I'm in Battleground Games and Hobbies in Abington, Massachusetts. Battleground is a gaming and hobby store with 3 locations in the Boston area. One here in Abington, one in Norton down south, and one up north, north of Boston in Saugus. So we're going to be doing some painting today. You're going to want that. So yeah, we're going to do some painting today. I'm going to paint some stuff. You can sort of see I've got an upside down vault dweller there. Here. Now he's on camera. So he is a figure from the Fantasy Flight Fallout board game. I have already painted this once, so if you've ever watched any other videos, you may see that there's another set of videos where I was painting these guys. That's because I painted my own copy, and this isn't my own copy. This is a copy I am painting as part of a charity marathon. We are participating in the Extra Life Charity Game Day, and it's right above my head, I think, is our donation thing. We're taking donations now. The actual marathon isn't until the first weekend in November. If you want to donate, go for it. We would appreciate that. If you want to wait for the actual marathon, we understand that as well. We're going to be doing some giveaways. We're going to do giveaways in the chat during the marathon. We're going to be streaming a lot. We're hopefully streaming as much of the marathon as possible, happening up in the loft up here. There's a whole store down there that is all tables and shelving and stuff for various games. We've got a ton of demo games down there, and we're going to be running a giant game of Werewolf around midnight, 1 a.m.-ish. The store owner, Derek, has been talking about running not just the Ultimate Werewolf that we've done in the past, but Legacy, so that each round, carries into the next. So that should be interesting. That's always a wild time because we get a lot of people involved in that. It's not just like a handful of us. It's not like 10 or 11 people. We're talking 30 to 40 people involved, which is really cool. So we do a bunch of raffles and stuff. When you donate, you get raffle tickets, which is super cool. And one of the things that we're giving away is the base game for the base Fallout Fantasy Flight game. And I am going to paint the figures. So I've been working on that. She's done, finished her last week. I'm pretty pleased with how she came out. I think I like the vest on the one I have at home a little bit better, but I do think she came out pretty well, all things considered. So she's done. And he's about 60% done. I have details. He doesn't have a wash on him. He doesn't have any highlighting done. All of his pouches and stuff are pretty bland. Yeah, I want to go over the yellow parts. Yellow, my nemesis when it comes to paint. Yellow is the worst paint color. Hate yellow paint. Goes on streaky, never goes on opaque. Really annoying. So I've got to go over the yellow parts. I want to dirty up his armor here, and I need to do his gun. And then a wash and whatnot. And then we've got these two. Our two big boys. Yeah, it could be a big girl. Anyway, we did her armor last week and then put a wash on it. Just slap some Null oil on that to get in there so that now it's dry and we can do all of the detail work on it, which is going to involve all this stuff back here, get some detailing, And the armor itself is going to get a bunch of like red and black paint highlights on it, because it's not just a Brotherhood of Steel character and a set of power armor, it's a Brotherhood of Steel outcast. Brotherhood of Steel outcasts they're not from Fallout 4, I don't believe. I don't think they were in 4. But they were definitely in 3, because I kept encountering them. But their power armor, it's not like your typical power armor. It's painted sort of black with metallic parts where the black paint is worn away, and red sort of highlights on the shoulders and the chest piece and the legs, the knees. So there's a lot of highlighting and stuff going on there. There's a lot of detail work, not so much with the, like I don't have to come up with a full paint scheme for it. I basically have to look like they painted it black and then didn't take care of it and then slap some red on it in places because they're outcasts, they're rebels, yeah, whatever. So I've got some good, yeah, I've got some good reference photos for that, for like how they add that red paint, that red detailing on there. There is a mod you can get for Fallout 4 that gives the outcast paint scheme as a possibility, but I've never played around with mods in Fallout 4, so regardless, this figure is referred to in the game as an outcast specifically, so that's what we're going to run with. And then we've got our Supermutant, his Super Sledge. So he's got all his base coats on him. Now it's a matter of doing the Super Sledge, doing the bandolier here, and then texturing details, stuff like that. Hey, Passiflora, how's it going? The minis are good. We're gonna work on, I think, the Vault Dweller today. I'm gonna work on this guy. He's gonna hang out. And I'm gonna work on this guy. So this is the Ghoul. My dapper Ghoul. He's gonna get some pinstripes on his vest. He's gonna be very, very dapper. Japanese ramen. That sounds good. It's a soup day. It is definitely a warm broth sort of day. And then we're gonna start playing with this armor. But I think it's detail time for this guy. Or do I want to put a wash on this one so that it's dry by the time I get to it? Maybe that's a good idea. Nice. So let's do a wash. We're gonna do a wash on the Supermutant so that when it comes time to actually go in and do detail work on him, the wash will be dry and I won't have to worry about washing and then letting him sit and just chatting for a while. I got all chatty last week. I didn't get as much done as I really wanted to. Washes are amazing. I love them. And this is why I painted these rags. The brighter sort of baby blue that I painted them is that they should be gray, but I knew that the gray wouldn't necessarily read with the brown wash over it, and I do want him to be all dirty and washed with Earthshade. Whoa, that was a little more than I intended. That's okay, he'll be fine. And we're going to be like doing metallics and stuff on the stuff that's on him. So those are going to be fine over a washed skin tone and stuff. I'm actually going to end up doing a green wash on him too. On his skin. So there is apparently a tendency for people to say that a wash is liquid talent. Now, I have some thoughts on this. One, I think that's mistaking talent and skill. Liquid skill, yes, I'm fully willing to go with that, because the idea behind a wash is that it allows you to get a lot of texturing and stuff very quickly without doing it all with brushwork. I don't have to go in and paint every one of these crevices individually by hand. But talent, not so much. Talent, to me, says there's an innate sort of sense of an innate eye for things, and inclination towards what you're doing. And I don't think you can bottle that. You can nurture it, but I don't think you can bottle it. I think you don't need to be talented to do something well. You need to be skilled. What's the quote? Donation goal for Extra Life is 4,000, but that's very ambitious of us. That's not, like, we may not hit that. And that's like between now and the end of the actual marathon. What is, there's a Bob Ross quote about talent, that like talent is like a practiced skill or something like that. I don't know if I agree. I think there are people who do have a natural inclination towards certain things that give, like if I'm tone deaf, it's going to be a lot harder for me to learn how to play a musical instrument or to sing. And if you naturally have perfect pitch and you naturally can apply that perfect pitch to reproducing notes, and you just have an innate understanding of how to create a note on an instrument or use that instrument, and it makes sense to you, it's just there's something that clicks in your brain, it's going to be a lot easier for your practice and the work that you put in to build up to something really good. Whereas if I'm tone deaf, and my eye-hand coordination isn't great, and it's hard for me to sort of put together where my fingers go and how that translates to making music. I can practice and practice and practice and put in an enormous amount of work, and that's not going to mean the same thing as putting in the same amount of practice and hard work would for someone who has more of an innate understanding of something. And I think the same is true of a lot of art, and I think the same is true of a lot of other things like math and science and stuff like that. That innate skill, that innate talent that you have, that doesn't mean you're automatically awesome at something. You still have to work really hard, but it means that that work probably is going to amount to something faster and with an understanding of what your work is doing in a way that maybe isn't true for everyone. And I think sometimes people who are innately skilled at things have maybe a little bit of a blind spot when it comes to that, where they sort of go, no, I work really hard, so if you work really hard, you can do this too. If that's all it took, then everyone would be able to do anything that they sat down and studied. And that's not true. That's not necessarily true. And I don't think it's a bad thing to say, yeah, I have a talent. I am innately, I have an eye for this. But it also takes an enormous amount of work for me to take that innate sense and turn it into what you see me do. So yeah, when I heard the liquid talent, I was like, no, maybe not liquid talent, liquid skill. Because skill is something that takes practice, and putting a wash on something doesn't require a whole lot of practice. It doesn't require a whole lot of work. You do it, and it brings out the detail in the mini. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a cheat. But it does mean I don't have to take a brush. They made a tool, and I'm using that tool. I don't have to go in with my tiny little brush and paint every shadow on this guy's legs. I could. But why do that when the wash does it for me, and then I can focus on other things? So people who work really, really hard to be good at art or music or criticism, like an art critic. Yeah, you work really hard to develop the skills that it takes to look at something and critique it. And editors, people who edit, you're like, yeah, maybe you are naturally good at spotting grammar. Like, it just makes sense in your head. You're still not going to be as good without practice as someone who is innately good at it, who does practice. It matters. But it's also, I think it's a bit of a, it's a bit dismissive to say to someone, if only you practice, you'd be as good as me. That's not necessarily true. And it can feel really cruddy to put in an enormous amount of practice on something and to work really, 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 really hard at something and have it mean not as much as a friend of yours who starts at the same time, puts in the same amount of work, and they're, producing absolutely gorgeous, amazing things. And you feel like you're still struggling. It's very discouraging to sort of treat it like if only you practiced more. Because then if you are practicing a lot and you're just not doing as well, it sort of feels like, oh, all for naught. I read a really good piece about that. It was on Tumblr. It was a thing written by a music teacher. And she was basically saying, look, I have students who come in and they're perfectly decent singers. They're perfectly decent voice, and with some training, they'll learn how to use it well enough that they'll feel good about what they're doing. And then I have people come in who just, it clicks for them and they blossom. And it's really frustrating for those who come in and work for, a year just to do the basics, to see someone come in and fly through. And when they're told that it's a matter of practice, but they are practicing, it feels really, it's a bummer to them, to sort of feel like, oh, well, I am practicing and I guess it doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't mean anything. So yeah, a little frustrating to hear that sort of thing. And I get it that like someone who works really hard it's equally frustrating to sort of have someone go, wow, you're so talented. I wish I could do that. And sort of be like, I work real hard at this. I went to school and I took lessons and I work on it every day. You don't want someone to sort of write off all your hard work as just talent. At the same time, it's really, I think there's an opposite side. In the same way that someone who is really skilled at something has put in a lot of hard work, I think there's also it's just a lack of acknowledgement that that's not always going to produce the same results for every person. In the same way that I could take up running, which I have. I'm never going to win a marathon. It has nothing to do with the amount of work I put into it. It has nothing to do with the number of days I run in a week. It has something to do with the fact that I'm almost 40 years old. And it's the fact that my body isn't built for that. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just not my skill set. This yellow is not the yellow I wanted. I hate yellow. I haven't seen anything come through, Andy. Yeah, that's the yellow I wanted. Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
I'm going to turn the music up just a touch. Not much.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do a test donation to see if when a donation comes in, we get an audio cue.
Okay.
Because that would be really nice.
So the gun is mostly a wood stock with then a steel barrel at the front. And it's held together with duct tape, because of course it is. I also want to do some other sort of reds, or not reds, browns on the pouches and stuff that he's got. I'm going to take a whole bunch of different browns out. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah. And then we're gonna do a whole bunch of dry brushing on the power armor. Wow, okay. That was really cool. Also, really loud. Thanks for the $5 donation. That was very loud. That was startling. I mean, good to get our attention in the middle of the stream if someone does donate. Oh, the bit noise is very different, Andy. Yeah. That was, I mean, the bit noise is noisy, but it's just a bing. Whereas the donation amount was yay! They're not the same. They're very different. Thanks. Yeah, it's really loud. It's something new. A long time away, but we made it through. Starting over. Starting over, it's something new. Hey, DG Dell, how's it going? Whoa. Yeah, that is the paintbrush I want. Yeah, how'd you do? How'd you guys come out down there? I should probably work on the Pip-Boy, huh? That's good. It looked like all the photos and stuff that we saw up here, it just looked so bad. Yeah, it looks so bad. Actually, I'm going to do a darker brown on his wrist guard. It should be really dark. I could have sworn I saw a spot that needed blue paint. Crud. All right, what do we think of this guy? I think he may be ready for a wash. It's fine if it's quiet in chat, Andy. 170 followers. It's not bad. I'm kind of hoping we gain a few during Extra Life. That would be after the end of October, but it would still be pretty nice. I'll let him sit for a little bit. Yeah, that wash really did help. That brought him down nice. We'll wait on him a little bit. So we want to start off with a fairly natural skin tone for the Ghoul. And then we're gonna really make him look gross. I'm doing a little bit of a yellow dry brush on this ghoul here. And my reasoning behind that is that ghouls are a little sallow. They're not healthy looking. To look a little jaundiced, maybe. Crap. I made a mess. Fine. I want that. Sworn. That's it. That's the stuff. Yeah, same, buddy. I had a doctor's appointment, so I had to get up early, and I'm really regretting it right now. It's really unpleasant. I don't like it. I'm going to be doing some highlighting on him. So while I am doing a green wash on him, and wow, like way too much on his face, I'll wash some of that off. We are going to be doing some more texturing and stuff on his skin, so I'm not going to worry too much about it being too dark. Switch. I love my Switch. I am very glad I got one. I think all that's left on him is like his boots and his Pip-Boy. Yeah, so Stardew Valley on Switch, I'm 50-50 on multiplayer. I like the idea of having a farm I can maintain with my friends. I don't like the idea that I have to be online at exactly the same time as them, because I like playing when I want to play, and then not necessarily needing to like make an appointment to play my farm sim. That said, I want some of the other update stuff that's come out for the console version that is not, or for the PC version that's not out for the console versions yet, or not out for the Switch version, like the night market. I really want the night market. There's a couple of other things I really would like to have. So yeah, I like the concept of the Stardew Valley having multiplayer, because it is something where you could be like, I'm going to take care of the crops if you take care of the animals, or I'm going to go mining while you go look for, you know, treasure spots to dig in. Yeah. Everyone plays around my schedule. My schedule's not fun, so I have all this painting to do. I just don't like the idea that I'm sort of bound to someone else's schedule. If I want to play my farm sim, I want to play my farm sim. That was stupid. I didn't shake it. What was I thinking? The fishing is horrible no matter what. See, that's awesome. So I like that idea. I like the idea of sort of divvying up different like jobs and different tasks and different things to do in the game. I really like that idea. If I could avoid fishing entirely, I would do so. Though it's okay now that I'm level 10 and have an iridium rod and stuff. But God, is that annoying to start out with. But yeah, it's the scheduling that really has me. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I said, as long as I get like the night market and some of the other things that came in, like, oh my god, the auto picker for the barn. Something that like milks and collects eggs so that I don't have to do that. That would be awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm not shocked that they're doing that. What do I do with my paints? There. Yeah. So I'm not 100% on it being in the most recent. I know, so here's the thing. I use the wiki a lot to like keep track of where certain things are going to pop up and stuff. And I was looking in the wiki for like other stuff and came across a mention of the auto picker. And it's like, you can construct this, and when you hit like farmer level whatever. And I was like, you can? That would be fantastic to not have to be in my barn every day like collecting things. I could just run in, say hi to everyone, and dash out, and everything would be fine. So I just sort of assumed it was that I had picked the farmer, where you get your crops are more valuable, as opposed to rancher. Because at the time that I picked it, I wasn't sure like what I would end up wanting to do more of. I mean, it was probably the right choice, all things considered, because now I have a Junimo hut, and they just basically collect all my crops. So I can plant whatever I want, and they pick it, and I don't have to worry about it. And that means that like planting crops is a nuisance once a season for me. And I say a nuisance once a season because at this point, aside from the stuff that can potentially grow giant, like pumpkins, they only pick it in a set area, but I'm not planting massive numbers of crops. Honestly, I made a, yeah, they have a range, but my garden plot is well within their range, and you can have multiple huts if you want to pay for them. But in my greenhouse, I have an orchard. I do not want for money. I have 2 of everything and 3 each for peaches and pomegranates, which are, I think, the most expensive, like the ones that you get the most money for fruit. And then everything else in my greenhouse is repeating, aside from starfruit, which I replant every once in a while. But I have like coffee beans, hops, grapes, green beans, tomatoes, cranberries, blueberries, and peppers. That lives in my greenhouse, and then trees are around the edge. And that's what I harvest myself. And for the Junimos, I basically I have a garden that is all within their range, and I plant the stuff that like you plant it once and then it keeps producing throughout the course of I'm holding like 3 conversations. But yeah, so the Junimos harvest everything I have planted outside that's seasonal. And the only thing that I plant that doesn't repeat are like melons, pumpkins, and what's the third one that has the potential to grow really big? I can't remember. Yeah, I went heavy into the ranching, so I have like 2 pigs, and goodness knows the amount of truffles they dig up. And I took the foraging perk that makes everything you forage a purple. Anything you pick up off the ground, yeah. Is cauliflower the third one? It's melons, I know, is one of them. Cauliflower might be the last one. But I took the foraging thing where everything you pick up off the ground, like anything that's like wild-ish, that you pick up off the ground becomes a purple item. Yeah, so good. But that means that because I have 2 pigs, the spring, summer, and fall, I get maybe 5 or 6 truffles a day that are purple. So, it's a lot. I have 3 jewel, crystallariums. Those are producing me diamonds, like once a week. I incubated a dinosaur egg, so I have a dinosaur. I fenced them in, but they have a large fenced area. They have a very large fenced area. My entire farm, like all my barn, my chicken goes like chicken coop, barn, shed where I have my mayonnaise makers, mayonnaise and like cheese, kegs. I have an oil maker and a loom, or like a spinning wheel in there. And then I have my mill for flour and sugar. And that's over next to the greenhouse. It's actually outside the fence, but you can get to the thing from inside. So basically, like, my farm goes like farmhouse, then it's like farmhouse, garden just below the farmhouse, and then I have beehives, and like beehives down at the bottom, and then to the side I have like my forges and seed makers and stuff like that. Up above my sale bin is like my worm thing, my bait maker, and the trash recycling thing, and then my horse lives right next to that as well. And then it's farmhouse, and then garden, fence, and then next to that is the hen house, barn, shed, gate so that I can go up north, greenhouse, mill, and all that space below it, basically the entire length of my garden, so vertical length of my garden, is a fenced area for the animals. So, and that's all just grass. And then I have one of each season's trees in a little grove just under, where like it's sort of like next, the area for the animals sort of goes like this, because there's a little section with those. I could probably unfence that and put grass in there, but I don't like that it gets junk. So I've actually paved around all my trees. Yeah, standard farm. It was my first game, so I thought I should go standard and not give myself a hard time. I'm actually curious about the water farm. I know you have to like distribute where things are because everything's on little islands, but I kind of like the idea of it. But yeah, I paved, I put cobblestones around all my trees. So all my trees have cobblestones like 2 or 3 spaces out from them, in hopes. I just did that this season, in year 9, I think. I just did that, and we're gonna see if it means that I don't get junk. Yeah, I know, it's fishing themed, but I kind of like the idea of it. I like water, so I kind of like the idea of having it right there. And I like the idea of being able to just fish in my garden and stuff. thinking. I don't really want like the monster farm. It's not really my thing. And I'm not really into the mountain farm. You still get junk even with your trees paved around, or just won't be junk from your trees. You know what? That's fine. Rocks and shrubberies I can deal with. I don't like that they start growing extra trees next to them, because I have a certain number of like pine trees and stuff, like each type of wild tree that I can tap. I don't like sort of having them start growing trees behind them that I didn't realize were there. It gets out of control way too fast that way. All right. Yeah. I wanted to make his vest gray instead of solid black. And now we're gonna do pinstripes. Which tree? I have so many mushroom trees, you have no idea. I have like a grove of mushroom trees to the south. There's like 6 of them. And then I have 3 up by my fence. And then another one popped up in one of my other groves, like over just under my garden. Yeah, I have so many. I have so many mushroom trees. All the mushroom trees. Yeah, I basically only keep the other trees for tapping. There's a walkthrough to get the last few artifacts. I am missing 1 artifact. And if you want to know if I'm salty about that, let me tell you, I am distinctly unhappy about it. I am missing the prehistoric tibia, which theoretically shows up in the forest or the railroad area. I don't have tappers on any of the mushroom trees. I haven't tried. I should. I don't think they'll produce anything. Mushroom juice. Yeah, the prehistoric tibia is the last one I have. So there's a method of trying to get them that was developed by someone on Reddit, I think. And the idea behind it is they produce red mushrooms? Sweet, well, I guess I'll start tapping my mushroom trees. The idea is you stockpile rain totems, lucky food, so like pumpkin soup and stuff. And you, in the winter, because in winter you can stay out super late and your animals won't care, and you can, and like if you have an auto feeder, you don't have to worry about feeding your animals. You don't have any crops to worry about, and all of the ground has potential to get the wormy things. So what you're supposed to do is stockpile lucky food and rain totems And every 3 or 4 days, it's like every 4 days, you basically you use a rain totem. You eat your lucky food, you use a rain totem, you go back to bed. Every day. And on the 4th day, you go out and hunt for spots to dig, for artifact spots, and you cover your entire map. The whole thing. The only change I made in that is that I actually quite like my wife, and I don't want her mad at me. So in the morning I would say hi to her and give her a present. I married Maru, so I give her diamonds, which my crystallarium produces, or battery packs, which I stockpile from my lightning rods in the summer. And so on the 4th day, you go and you walk around. You dig up all of the spots that need digging. You go out to the desert. You basically cover the entire map. Dig everything up, pick up every bit of forage that you can, clear it. And yeah, Maru's awesome. I like her. And she gives me mushrooms sometimes, so that's cool. She finds fish cakes in her junk pile, so that's kind of weird, but whatever. But I like Maru. I like having Robin and what's his name? Scientist guy as my in-laws. Having Sebastian as an in-law is fine. It's kind of funny. Mara talks about him. She's like, he's a shut-in. He needs to ask Abigail out. He can't have Abigail. Well, apparently he's not doing anything about it. He's just sitting in his room or playing in his band with a blonde dude. I'll be honest, I pretty single-mindedly went after Maru. I did not waste any time with that. Abigail would have definitely been my second pick, aside from Maru. Oh yeah, amethyst for Abigail, super simple. But I'm at the point where, like, I've 10-star friended everyone in the town. I've got all but one of the achievements. And the only achievement I have left is having a complete museum set. I'm missing one artifact from the museum, and that's the tibia. Vectors challenge? I don't know what that is. Oh, no, because that's horrible and I hate it. It sounds it. It's not in the achievements for the, like, the only star I'm missing in my achievements list is the museum collection. Secret achievement, okay. Yeah, I probably won't be doing that. Secret achievements or whatever. I'm glad they exist for the people who want to do them. But I'm sort of at the point where I'm like, I'm playing just for fun. The only thing that's like, I want to do it is I want to get that complete museum collection. For a couple of reasons. One, I want the achievement. Two, I want the full museum collection so I can stop worrying about that because there's a glitch in my game that's really irritating. And the glitch is that whenever I go to add something into the museum, you know how when like you pick an item to add to your museum collection, all the possible places in the museum collection turn into little boxes that you should be able to use to put them in, and your like bag screen falls away. Mine doesn't fall away. It doesn't fall away with the first item I have. It will once I've placed something. If I have a second item in my bag, if I pick that second item out, it falls away then. But the first item I pick out of my bag to donate to the museum, my bag just stays there. And I used all the spaces that were up on the main screen. So it's like if this is my bag and this is the main screen, as you sort of scroll around, your bag is always at the bottom of your screen. And unfortunately, you can't go down below the bottom of the museum. So you can't look below that. Yeah, I'm on the Switch. So I found there's one space left where I can put things that then I can pick it up again. And once I've picked it up, if it's the thing that I just dropped, I can pick it up again and move it to another space. So what I've been doing is putting things in that one space, then picking them up again and moving it, then it falls away and I can put it somewhere else. So I've got the palm fossil. That was my second to last item, and I got that last winter doing that lucky item marine totem thing. I'm stockpiling stuff now to try and do that again, but I'm also still scouring the railroad and the forest for hopefully to get the tibia before next winter. Because winter's my favorite season in the game. I love it. It's very pretty. I like the music. I like the foraging stuff that you get in the winter. I really like winter in Stardew. And I don't like the idea that I have to sort of skip it in order to do this fancy way of getting artifacts. Yeah, it's the most laid back of seasons. It's really pretty. I can mine for as long as I want if I want to. I can basically do what I want at that point. And I like that. And I basically had to skip almost the entire season last year because, like, I went out for the Festival of the Winter Star, basically, so that I could do this treasure hunting technique. Oh, nice. I didn't do that. Oh, that's so good. How are those pinstripes looking? I'm pretty happy with them. Tap, tap, tap on his pocket he was. All the way home. Thank you. I was really pleased with how the pinstripes came out on my copy, so I thought I would just redo it for this one. I'm actually going over his shirt with a pale gray, which is the same color I did the pinstripes out of. It's not gonna stay that way for a couple of reasons. One, because I think it looks dingy and he's not a guy, this guy isn't a guy who is gonna wear a dingy shirt. It's a dapper ghoul. But also because I want it to be bright enough that I can then do a wash on it and not have it come down too dark. Of course, he doesn't tuck his shirt in very well. Thank you. He does seem like he should be wearing a nice hat. I actually am sad that, like, he's not officially Hancock. Down. Yep. Sorry. It's the angle with the camera is being very annoying. Just lighting is an issue. I think the only real solution to the lighting issue with this would be like a ring light. I really don't want to deal with that. It seems too fancy. Yeah, I do want to bring his shirt back up before I wash it, actually. I also want to do the gold chain on his watch fob. We'll do an antique gold for him. He's also going to get deep red tie. Before we do that, I gotta do his gun. Remember the plasma pistol being kind of a pain. Okay. let's look up the plasma gun. Yeah, that's annoying. Okie dokie. I'm going to end up going over some of this with a metallic. So this is more of a base coat. You know what? I'm just going to go for the metallic on this. It's not the metallic I want, actually. I want the brighter. We're going to do the metallic, and then we're going to do a black wash, and then we're going to let him sit for a little bit. Because so many of the parts of this gun are silver, and it's got so much tiny, tiny, tiny little detail that we're just going to paint all of it silver. Then we're going to do a wash, and then we're going to go in and punch up the green, yellow, and brown bits, which is going to be a heck of a lot faster and easier than going in and trying to just hit everything that's silver carefully without touching anything else. It's a relatively small gun. Sit for a bit. Where's my, there it is. Sorry, I was so focused I wasn't looking at chat. Oh, awesome. You're going to be able to tune in tonight? I'll be glad to have you. How do we feel about hat? The helmet needs a little work, but other than that. And then the gun. Okay. We'll be very, very glad to have you. I'm gonna have a piece of my muffin. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Yeah, the Ghoul is pretty much done aside from his gun. Vault Dweller is pretty much done. So it's basically some bits on his helmet and back. Yeah, this is 260. And a good picture of the back.
That's not helpful.
All right. Aside from the Gatling laser, I think he's done. You should have a bald spot. It's not molded in, so it would actually end up looking really weird, because his hair is solid. There's nothing in there, and it's all textured. So it would actually, I would have to like sculpt that in to make that work. Yeah, it's with hair, I try to just go with what's sculpted. Actually, I want this brown for that. We're starting over. That's not what I meant to dip my paintbrush into. Wait, but we made it through. And I do want that like rust red on his rags, because if you've ever dealt with rusty things, rust gets everywhere. Okay. I mean, I thought that would probably be the case, Andy. So I think it's 4:15. I'm gonna try and work on the ghoul's weapon, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Actually, this does call for Nuln Oil. So I'm not going to be able to finish this weapon because I'm going to have to put a wash on it. Which means then it's going to have to dry. And then once it's dry, I'll finish it. So that'll be done next week. I feel like next week I'm going to be able to just finish these guys off. Because what's really left are little details and weapons. Next week, I will remember my figures. I will remember to bring my figures from home. That's what the Gatling laser needs. It's not a Gatling laser. What the hell is it? It is a Gatling laser. No, it's not. It's something else. What was it? What did I figure out it was? I mean, I figured it out last time. I know I found a picture of it. Oh, did I save a picture of it? That would be pretty awesome. No, I probably don't have a picture of it. And the reason I say I probably don't is that I had to like gut a lot of my media on my computer because it needed to do an update, and when it did, like when I was trying to figure out the update, it said it needed more space, and then it said it needed more space, and it said it needed more space, and I was like, but you have plenty of space. Where is all this stuff that theoretically is on my computer? And what I realized is that it had been saving updates to programs that I had. It had been saving all these updates that it couldn't install. But then I couldn't get rid of. It was saving all the files. But I had to get rid of a lot of stuff, and I think I must have gotten rid of the picture I had of the gun. So I'm gonna have to do some research into it. The super sludge I can find though. Super sludge is easy. Super sludge is very simple in terms of like finding it. It's really easy to find. It's got a yellow handle, so let's go ahead and do an initial coat of yellow. And Andy, anytime you can come up, I'll be ready to shut down. Hey, so I'm gonna.
A lot of progress.
I did. I think I'm gonna be able to finish up next week. I'm very happy about that. In the meantime, I think I'm gonna shut down for today.
Okay.
So thank you to everyone who joined me today. Thank you for anyone who watches in the future.
Yeah, and we'll see folks for The Captain is Dead Lockdown.
Yeah, tonight's 7:30 p.m. Eastern board game night is The Captain is Dead Lockdown. We've never played it before. That's our typical MO. We pick a game and we play it, and we usually learn how to play it and make mistakes on stream. So
Yes, that's going to be lots of fun.
come laugh at us make obvious mistakes. And we'll be doing that this evening.
Yay.
So thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.